kickstart with introductions, and yeah, I see we have some more visitors. So great. Thanks everyone for joining for this very exciting webinar. We've been in touch with Tangentia for the past few months, and we are extremely excited to kickstart this webinar. We've got Vijay Thomas, who is the founder and CEO of Tangentia, who will be hosting this webinar today for us. Vijay is from Toronto, and Tangentia is an agile digital transformation company which is headquartered in Toronto, and it's got operations globally, including USA, India, and Canada. Vijay is also the founder and CEO of Tangentia Ventures, which invests in early stage companies with a special focus on immigrant-run companies. Vijay has a BA in mechanical engineering from Karnataka University and an MBA from the Goa Institute of Management. He is also the president of TIE Toronto since Jan 23 and was elected as the president of Indo-Canadian Chamber of Commerce in 2021. Vijay is on the board of Willowdale BIA, a local business organization in Toronto, and he's also active in multiple local and global business organizations. He grew up in Goa, India, and has lived in Chennai, Boston, Montreal, and now calls Toronto home for the last 20 years. So Vijay, we are really excited to have you here. Thank you for joining this webinar. And we also have Amol Bhardwaj on with us from Tangentia as well. He is the key account manager and takes care of relations with ICAI. I know you guys are working with ICAI Toronto, and ICAI New York is extremely excited to co-host this webinar with you. So with that being said, Vijay, I will let you take this forward.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Jay. Thank you for the very, I would say, generous introduction, and really appreciate that. My wife says I do too much, so I've been now trying to get some hours to myself and join fewer organizations. But this year one organization that has really impressed us is ICAI, and I'm not a chartered accountant, but we ran into ICAI in Toronto, and we think this is a fantastic group of people. We also met with the people on the West Coast, so we're very excited, and this kind of. Also, I have an MBA in finance, so I know a little bit about finance, but I mean, it definitely seems like there has been a change in the way companies do business. So when we say finance-led digital transformation as a topic, this thing, especially for ICAI people, what it really means, and then I just want to give this, the thing right in the beginning. We think you have the keys to the kingdom now. We think that the ICAI, members, the finance people, you can lead digital transformation. So finance doesn't have to be only about reporting, doesn't have to be only about finance. You can make a change and an impact to even the way businesses work from looking at change, digital transformation from a finance lens. Takes care of the business case, ROI, a lot of other things that if it's led by some other function, sometimes are missed. So I think you are very well poised from where you sit in the organizations to be the leaders in this, right? So this is, I think, what we want to say in Tangentia. We definitely see this is happening. We see finance taking the key role. So let me see. Does slides should move here, right? Okay, yeah. So one question for everybody. I mean, this is we're all on Zoom, but my question is AI overhyped? And I really appreciate if all of you can say either yes or no, or how many of you believe that this AI is overhyped? If you want to raise your hands, please. Okay, so we see some show of hands. AI is overhyped, and today I think looking at stock prices of Nvidia and some of the other AI things, you might think, it was overhyped, but even today, Nvidia, I don't know, it closed yesterday. Some of you are closer to this number, but I think it's over 120. It is 124 or 125. So it's not gone down. I mean, if you go back, it went through some ups and downs, but it is quite high. Okay, so the slide that we're looking at, this shows you in the number of internet users in the world. And in Jan 1995, we had 21 million users. Today, we have almost 4 billion users of the internet. Okay, I think I can't see all my slide. No, it's even higher. It's 55 billion. In 2022, it's 5 billion. Okay, 5 billion people use the internet. The equivalent where we are in the AI revolution is somewhere here, where the red mark is. Because this is where we are today. Okay. Now, if you just look at NVIDIA stock, that might give you a wrong impression of what's happening. But NVIDIA today is like in 1995. Can anybody name what was the internet stock? Like, what stock could you have invested in? There was no Google, there was no Meta. So what would you have invested in to have had any play on the internet?
Amazon?
No, I don't think even
Was it-
Amazon was there. There was no
Was it
Amazon.
AOL?
Yeah, AOL, Netscape. They were people that were building the brick and mortars of the internet, right? These were people, Cisco, these were companies that were making routers. So we are still at the age where people are still building the bricks and mortar of the AI world. NVIDIA is making chips, right? This is like laying of cable in the internet era. This is not, so if anybody thinks this is the end of the AI thing, we didn't even start. Okay, the Googles of the world, the Metas of the world, the Netflix of the world have not arrived. We don't even know that they're not even here, right? So anybody that says it's overhyped, I would, and I could be proven wrong, but I think a lot of smart people definitely think we're just scratching the surface. We haven't even started. Right? Have you heard what is the one big AI company that we know of? None. I mean, NVIDIA is still selling bricks and mortar. They're selling chips. Now, there is a huge amount of stuff that is going to happen. And this, so from a ICAI perspective, I don't think this is something that, any of you members and anybody here, we can fight this. This is inevitable. It's going to happen, right? It is going to happen. And I think we'll see this happening. Today people talk about internet native companies that don't have any legacy. Everything is internet based. Imagine a day we have AI native companies, right? Where we believe that everything can be done by AI. So it is just a matter of time that these concepts are going to percolate down. So I just wanted to make sure everybody got an idea of what we are talking about here. And this is just, these are parallels to the internet, and AI is going to be as basic as the internet. Today, I was in India and speaking at a business school. I asked people in India in the business school, how many of you have Chat GPT on your phones, right? And anybody want to guess how much percentage of them had Chat GPT on the phones?
Almost everyone.
Everybody, 100%. Yes, 100% had ChatGPT on the phones, right? If I ask that question to mid-level corporate executives in the USA or in any other developed part of the world, the answer is less than 50%. Okay, so we are late. I mean, so I'm just saying, I put myself in that thing. We have not embraced AI as much as the next generation. Kids today are AI first. Okay, and I will go through a couple of examples, and then we'll get into finance, and we'll also end with a little bit of stuff about what we do at Tangentia. So just to give you a perspective that it is already happening, the younger people are their first port of anything that they want to find out, they'll go to ChatGPT. Okay, so let me just change the slide. So what is the biggest impact of generative AI? What is the biggest impact? Today, as we said, most people are going first to ChatGPT. So death of the web. The web as we all know it is going to go away, right? We will not be. So today, if you want to do something, you would go to ChatGPT. You would go to Google, and then you would go to the web, right? So let's say ICAI, you have a website, ICAINewYork.com. Let's assume that's your website. If I need to know anything, I would go to ICAINewYork.com. In the new world, I would just go to ChatGPT or one other AI provider. I would say, tell me more about ICAI New York, and they would tell you. Now, the next realm of this is AI is the new UI. So you don't even have to log in. The AI layer will log you in. So you'll say, tell me something about this, and it says, hey, you are here, but you're also a member, and you logged in before. Do you want to log in again? So the Siri equivalent AI agent will log you into this site. It can do some of the stuff for you and bring it to you. So you'll never see that website. So people are slowly going to a point where your AI layer will get the job done. You don't need to go to a website. So this is kind of the death of the web, twilight of search, and this is Google is seeing it on writing on the wall. Google has now come out with Gemini, and they're going to get people to start using Gemini more for searching for information. And the third portion is resurgence of trust. What this really means is today, let's say a lot of you in finance, you probably are approving advertising budgets. Okay, and one budget that if you're is Google AdWords or Meta AdWords or Facebook advertising, Instagram advertising. The ROI on many of those are very sketchy. It's not very clear. If I throw $1 million in advertising, will I get the money back or not? So with generative AI, you can't buy search ads anymore. You can't buy your position on Google. So there is a resurgence of trust. You have to be written about by some people with some trust, and then you can see. So you can't buy your way out of this. So resurgence of trust is something else that is happening. So just key ideas that I wanted to talk about. Generative AI. Okay, generative AI. I think all of us have heard of generative AI. It was in November 2022 that the world, and many of you are from ICAI, so I would use a Hindi term, is Aam Janta. Aam Janta got to know of generative AI on the 31st, I think it was 30th November 2022. That was the day when ChatGPT was launched. But generative AI has been around. Some of you must have heard of programs like IBM Watson. They've been around for some time, but it never caught the attention of the masses as generative AI did, as ChatGPT did. So I think that was truly democratizing AI. It was not new, but now everybody knew of it. It was not only certain circles of people that knew about generative AI. So I think this is even could be possibly such a big world event that we know today is 2024 AD, right? AD is after death. So I believe at some point there will be so much change from AI that there will be a world after ChatGPT and a world before ChatGPT. Right? And ChatGPT is just not ChatGPT per se, but AI as a whole. So it is a huge event. So our definition at Tangentia and my definition of what ChatGPT, what generative AI is it allows people to converse with big piles of data, right? You can converse, you can talk to data. So today, let's assume, some of you, work for, how many of you work for a banking institution, like banks, financial institutions? Anybody, just by show of hands? Yeah, I think there's some people who work for banks. So if you work for banks, like today, what are you doing? There is a lot of information in the bank, in your core banking systems, in your wealth management systems, in your capital market systems. How do you find any of the information? You have to have some reports. You have to do something. Just imagine if you. Sorry, I didn't want to. Imagine if you wanted to talk to your core banking system. You talk to the system in English, right, or Spanish or whatever language you want to. It does all the communication with the backend systems. It can also come up with something creative. Some of you must have heard of temperature of AI. Temperature AI is you can have high temperature, low temperature. The higher temperature, it gets more creative. Now in finance, we usually operate at low temperature because we don't want hallucinations. We don't want too much creativity. We want it to do it exactly how we want it to in a streamlined manner. So on those lines, I said in finance, in banking, you can talk to your core banking system. You can talk to it and say, I want this to be done, or give me a report about all these things. It does all the reporting and brings you the information, right? So that I think is where we can do this. Many of you probably have wondered, I bought an insurance policy, either car insurance or term insurance or whatever. Think of a way in which if you could converse with your insurance policy, you said, can I add a kid on a driver on this policy? What will be the impact? Today, either you got to be smart enough to make sense of this, or you got to call some insurance professional. Just imagine a time when you could just talk to your insurance policy. You could talk to your CRM. You can talk instead of going into a Salesforce and saying, find me all this the sales that we got from this customer. You could get it all automatically. ERP system. Imagine if you could talk to SAP. Imagine if you could talk to SAP. You don't need to. I don't need to remember what codes. What do I need to do? How do I close an entry? No, all of that stuff. Is that really the work that you have to do? Do you need to know 50 different ways of accepting a purchase order, right? Today, there is a lot of people whose only job is how to work with these systems. So that I think is kind of going away, and we should be able to talk in plain English to all these systems. Now, are we there yet? Not yet, but are we directionally going in that direction? Absolutely. So companies, if you want to go, what we call this is the autonomous journey. So autonomous means not just automated. Autonomous is automation plus decision making, right? So if you're a bank, somebody applied for a loan, they used to fill out a piece of paper with some loan or fill a form on the website. That information comes back to the bank. In the old days, somebody would actually look at it. Some of the more efficient banks, all the information would go into a system. Some of the other ones, they would actually print it and somebody would enter it in, depending on what level of automation that they were at. But decision making, whether the loan has to be approved or not, in most cases would go to what we call a human in the loop. There would be a human that would do some of that stuff. But today, even that decision making can be done more efficiently by a decision model that, if you get somebody to join a bank and they've been with the bank for 3 months and you've taught them how to do this, now you can teach them with data from 30 years, right? You have decisions that were made over 30 years based on demographics, based on, zip code. There's a lot of stuff that can be put all together. Cookbook, another cookbook to autonomous enterprise. If you were to do something like this, how do you do that? Today, I think the energy is bottom up and top down. Now, when you say bottom up, I said a lot of the people at lower rungs in companies are younger. Now, what does younger mean? They've also embraced AI. They have a knowledge of these new systems more than the people in the middle. The high level, the board of directors, the CEOs, they have been bombarded at their level from board meetings, conferences, so they do understand it as well. So it's the middle layer that has not probably not as convinced or not on board. So if we have to do something like this, we think we have to capture the bottom up energy and the top down energy, and once we bring that, we can make a lot of change. Diverse perspectives. Obviously, we wanted finance to be the leaders, but you can't do this alone. There is change management. You got to bring HR on board. You got to get sales. You got to get every different perspectives on board if you were to do an autonomous enterprise. Just a note out there: people say, okay, if everything's going to get automated, what should CAs do? What should members of ICAI New York do? Right? I mean, okay, so, and then we'll get into more detail about some of this, but basically what I wanted to say was, we still need people to talk to these AI models. Today, if I say go and search something on Google for me, all of the people on this group, everybody will come up with different answers, right? There's different ways in which you give information to Google and Google will come back with that information. So this is, in AI, we call this prompt engineering. So how you prompt the AI model is how you will get your answers. So the asking the right questions becomes important. Today, one of the hottest jobs going around is prompt engineer, right? How do you write the right prompts? So some things are going away, but new things are being developed. And these are going to be some of the core, in finance. We say there is also an AI model that will do all of this. But if you are the smart cookie there and know how to write, ask the right questions, AI will bring you richer information. So still, for competition, people that can utilize AI to their most benefit are going to be ahead. So it's not that everybody will get the same thing out of AI. Even SAP was an ERP system. There's every company that use SAP. Are they successful at the same level? No, right? I mean, how you use SAP, you have to have also strategy and all of those different things that are still important. AI is now making sure that what some of the very big companies had, now everybody will get. Everybody will have make it accessible. So you will have access to it. It doesn't have to be only JP Morgan. If you work for a mid-sized company as well, you can just pay per use of the AI model. So you can definitely do that. So get the right gear is basically make sure you're in the right speed, not too slow, not too fast. Some automation use cases in finance and accounting, and this keeps getting added all the time, right? I mean, procure to pay, accounts payable. This is probably the easiest low-hanging fruit. New vendor setup, purchase order creation, invoice validation, travel and expense reimbursement. One of our customers is a airline. And some of you must have wondered, when an airline goes, if it's let's assume it's a New York-based airline and they fly to all parts of the world, and let's say they fly to San Francisco, they have to fuel the plane in San Francisco. The crew gets off, goes into hotels. Just the whole, reconciliation of fuel requires in many airlines is a team of 50 plus people who just does fuel reconciliation. So we were able to reconcile just the fuel reconciliation part, and it was a huge saving, right? We were able to come up with logic that could reconcile that portion. Order to cash, accounts receivable, again, something, if you have, we all know of Dunning methods, we all know of, all of that stuff that, we could make it rules based, but with AI, you can customize it. AI can actually make calls today. A lot of the calls that come in from some of these companies, the first few minutes, you're actually talking to a bot, right? It's an AI agent that's talking to you. It's natural language processing, verbal natural language processing, and when needed, they can shift into a human. So bunch of different things that can possible. Three-way matching, all of those kind of things can be done very, very, very easily. I'll give you an example of where we've used AI very well. It's a Western Canada forestry company where we do business, and with the forestry company, they have these lumberjacks that go and cut trees in northern BC, and at the end of the week, they have to write their hours for the week on a piece of paper. So they take a piece of paper, and it's usually muddy because it's where they cut the trees. They take a picture of that timesheet and email it to their headquarters in Vancouver. We have an AI agent that's reading this email. It takes this email, it reads it, makes sense of it, enters it into ADP, and runs payroll. Right, so everything is automated. So this is the level of. So you don't need an agent there. You don't need somebody to read this, enter it in. So some of the stuff definitely is going away now. Where decisions are to be taken, those are also in the process of being captured and being able to be looked at. Today, we are working, I think, at the end of this, we'll also talk about how we're working with some of the ICAI chapters, and we're offering you, some of your members, to put us to the test. Bring us into your organization, say, give us a challenge. I want an AI agent to do this for me. Okay, and so one of these companies in Toronto that put us to the test, they were a valuation company. They did valuations for other companies, and people send them many P&Ls and balance sheets. What we did was we took this P&L and balance sheets, and somebody had to look at all this, enter it into another Excel sheet, and then they would run another report, and then they would get something. So we trained an AI model, and some of you might have heard of RAG. RAG is a retrieval augmented generation. So which means we don't take this information and we drop it into the public chat GPT, because if you drop it in public chat GPT, the public chat GPT is learning all that information as well. So you don't want to send that information in public. So a RAG keeps that information private, but it uses the power of the generative AI model to still look at it. So in finance, everybody that said we cannot put our documents in there, fantastic, no problem. You don't have to put anything out anywhere. It is private, it is secure, and it is not acted upon, and it is not help build a model. So what we did in this case was we fed this P&Ls and balance sheets to our AI model. It read all of those P&L balance sheet, made sense of it, entered into the Excel sheet, and created the reports. So all of it was done automatically. You didn't need to do anything. So you don't need, first of all, somebody to do the grunt work of reading P&L balance sheet. Now, reading P&L balance sheet is not standardized, right? So in the old days, if you had OCR, if it was exact same page, if your gross revenue, net revenue, each was exactly the same, it would work. But today we are using actual human-like brains to read this and make sense of it. So this is very different from OCR and any of those technologies. So we are truly adding generative AI into this. Some other things that you might have, tax filings. Okay, it's very easy. Take your whole tax code book, feed it to generative AI. It'll learn everything. Recently ICAI, I think in India, they had a thing. They fed the Indian budget to a chat GPT model, and you could ask questions to it. It would tell you, okay, what is, and then this is one question that I asked was, since I'm an NRI, what is the impact to NRIs from the tax thing? And it went and did all the thing and only brought you that part. Right, so this is the level at which now we can actually communicate, and the big part of generative AI is human, natural language processing, natural language communication. You don't need to know syntax. You don't need to learn something new language to chat with all this thing. So this, I think, is the big differentiator. I think we'll keep questions for the last. Future of finance, what lies ahead? Autonomous finance function. This might seem very dramatic, but I think it is still quite conservative. So 80% of traditional finance tasks can be automated. You can Google this. Many studies have found this out. It's not, I didn't come up with this. Okay, so if you just Google this, there's multiple studies. There's an Accenture study. There's a couple of other studies that have pointed in this direction. AI powered automation, where AI, not just automation, not just repetitive, mundane human tasks, that is already being done, but where AI can also bring in and power that. Connected data today. How do you connect a lot of data? How do you connect your in a core banking system with a capital market system, with a wealth management system? If you're a manufacturing company, your CRM with your your sales and distribution system, your warehouse management system. So a lot of this stuff can all be put together, and we can get meaningful insight very easily without making it like a big project. So future is autonomous. This, if you look at our Tangentia logo right at the bottom, we truly believe future is autonomous. It is, we are directionally already moving towards it. Are we there yet? As I said, not yet, but we are definitely moving the right direction. A little bit about Tangentia. We've been 20 years in existence. We have offices. We have an office in New York as well. We're headquartered in Toronto. We have offices in India, headquartered in Goa in India. And if any of you are visiting Goa, please let us know. We can definitely host you in Goa. We have an office in Kerala, Mumbai, Delhi. Sales offices. We have an office in Mexico City, and we have more than 300 employees, 13 plus Fortune 500 customers as customers. And some of our big names that you might know of in India and in North America are customers of ours. The largest retailer in India, Reliance Retail. I think we have a few case studies. We'll talk to you about that. We're in Forrester Research, Robotic Process Automation, Service Landscape, Q2 2023. We're a system integrator. We're on their roadmap. So a couple of companies have seen us, and they think that we are talking the right thing, doing the right things, and they have put us in their list. Some of our customers that we deal with, you'll see a slew of customers across multiple industries and multiple sizes, primarily small and medium size to enterprise size, and across some names that might, since you're in New York, this company called Avenue One. I think it's the fifth column, fourth row. They're a company out of New York. This one here, Avenue One. So I think they're funded by BlackRock, and what they do is they buy single-family homes in all of the U.S., continental U.S. They buy single-family homes, and they buy hundreds and thousands of single-family homes. So they're sitting on billions of dollars of money. So today, if you wondered, if you buy one home, you can buy one home easily, buy two homes. But imagine if you're buying thousands of homes, you need all of it automated. So we built a whole automated system for them that we could buy all the hard documents, the housing urban development documents. We could read all of that stuff, and we automated the process. So we could buy like homes automatically, right? I mean, so autonomously. So it would read the documents, it would file everything that was possible. So these are just some of the early adopters that are using AI to change the rules of the game, right? And I think this is something that you will see more and more. So there will be AI native companies that start in the AI world, like we had companies that started in the internet world. I'll give you one other example here. This company called Reddit. You've probably heard of Reddit. People write stuff on it. Reddit can change stock markets and stuff like that. So we built, we read a document. We have a AI agent that reads Reddit posts, and it looks for temperature of the post, right? If somebody is trying to create incite violence or anything like that, it would catch that up front and then send it to a moderator. So these are things that today companies are looking for, and you can do sentiment analysis. You can do a bunch of different things like that as well. Some of our certification awards. Okay, this is I'm going to weave in success stories. Am I just talking out of the air? Does this really exist? Are people doing this? And some of you are already in the business, so you probably know that it's already happening, right? How many of you in your organizations, like just by a show of hands, have heard of generative AI, heard of automation, robotic process of automation, intelligent document processing, or any of these terms? And especially today, yeah, I see some hands. So generative AI, fantastic. So it is happening, right? It is happening. A lot of people doing pilots. Is it being done at scale? Few companies, not as many. Okay, so it is still early days, but I think that's the opportunity. The opportunity, since it's early days, if you can be on the bandwagon from the early days, you obviously win more, right? Just an example of a project that we did I'm sure many of you have traveled to Ontario. until recently, you could buy beer and wine in Ontario only in a government store, right? So in 2015, they opened it up to grocery stores. You can buy in grocery stores. So now, as we speak, they are actually going to be taking this to convenience stores as well. The 7-Elevens, the Circle K's will also start selling alcohol, beer and wine. And this entire project was done by Tangentia. So we automated the whole process of buying, procurement, order taking. So order to cash, procure to pay. This entire process was done in a very agile manner. We used a lot of automation in this AI, and we were able to automate. And today, the LCBO is the world's largest beverage alcohol distributor. By the we should be doing more than, I think, $3 billion next year, because now they've also added the convenience stores. They were going to be doing only the grocery stores, and that was 1.8 billion. Is more than 3 billion right now. Runs through an automated system that we built. Digital tax filing, I think this is in here. Companies like H&R Block already have embraced digital tax filing. So today you dump, and I'm sure there must be some of you here that do tax filing, right? I mean, either in your own independent practice or for your organizations. So H&R Block, if you're an independent, you're an individual, you could end up putting all your receipts in a place. It automatically takes the information, files it. It can come back with questions. So Tangentia helped build some of these systems. H&R Block is a customer of ours. We work with them closely with their India operations. And so we've helped with the release of a lot of these things, a lot of the AI kind of stuff that they have in their systems. Reliance Retail, many of you must have wondered, how does, so these shirts, right? I mean, how does the stores have the right amount of shirts? Today, Reliance Retail, until a few years back, used to, order, let's say, this shirt. They would say, they would call this a ratio pack. Send me, 10 pack of 10, 2 small, 5 medium, 2 large, 2 extra large, 1 extra large, right? This would go to the vendor. The vendor, guess what the vendor would do? The vendor person filling this box, do you think they're very highly educated or lower educated people? Or do they really care? They're kind of minimum wage people. So they took whatever was available, dumped it into the box, and it went to the store. So stores were full of wrong items. Warehouses were full of stuff that was wrong. So we built a whole system that scanned each item that went into the box, put all of it together. And at every level, we had AI that was checking these things, making sure that the right information was going in. And from whatever we've seen, the savings were in the hundreds of millions of dollars at Reliance Retail. So definitely bringing AI in can save money. I mean, it is a business case thing. It's not doing AI or doing automation for the sake of doing automation. Jaguar Land Rover, another customer of ours, they were, because of Brexit, a lot of the documents had to be changed from euro to Great Britain pound, and they had to do it very quickly because Brexit was just around the corner. And we worked with our partners, Automation Anywhere, and we read a lot of their documents and made those changes. So we had more than 50 people working on this, and within 8 weeks, we were able to do the migration, and it saved more than $50 million. So it couldn't have been possible, like impossible to have been done that with human effort alone. In the cannabis industry in Canada, some of you might have heard of a company called Canopy Growth. Here, we've automated prescriptions, like prescriptions, medical prescriptions that come in today. A bot can read the medical prescription or put it into our auto management system, take care of shipping, close all the loops. It's almost all of it is entirely automated. This is a company called Symphony. It's in India. As many of you might have lived in India, they make air coolers and air conditioners. And here, invoice processing, we were able to reduce the for 250 hours invoice processing time for 1,500 invoices, reduced to 2.5 hours with 99.9% accuracy. This was what I talked about, simplifying real estate at scale. This was the company in New York, single family equity business. Royal Bank of Canada, again, where we've done a lot of app development in the mobile space and bringing in automation and AI. A company called Surti. Surti is a ethnic food manufacturer, and this is another concept that we are working with today. You have ERP systems, accounting systems. These are what we call systems of record, right? These are systems of record, which meaning they keep your GL account current. It's the principal record keeping entity. That's where you have your item masters, your cost masters, pricing masters. You have all of those things in there. However, over the last many years, the system of record also became the system of engagement. You were also engaging with that system, and the system of records were not built for engagement. They were not easy. Just imagine, how many of you have approved any changes in SAP? If you want to do any changes in SAP, it is like pulling teeth. It is very, 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 very expensive. So today, philosophically, what we believe is a surround ERP strategy. Don't touch the ERP system at all. Let the ERP system be. It is your system of record, but build a soft, low code, agile layer that surrounds SAP. And here we use Microsoft Power Platform here, and we have a lot of pre-built things in the Tangentia ecosystem that we were able to bring in and do this pretty quickly. So I think we have a small video here. We can show that, I think. Yeah. So basically, we built a very lightweight layer. So this thing is a lightweight mobile layer that works on your cell phone or on a tablet. So what was happening was, Surti was receiving a lot of inbound materials that came in, and the dock door, somebody would receive using a paper document. They would receive it paper document. Now, until the paper document was entered into the ERP system, guess what? That material is not in your system. So sometimes it took 2 days for the material to come in. Until then, your inventory is showing low, everything is showing wrong. So now what we did here, you enter it in right at the dock door on your tablet, on your cell phone, and it immediately, real time, is in your ERP system, right? So this breaks that whole thing. So today, there's lies, damn lies in statistics, right? And same way, lies, damn lies accounting, lies, damn lies inventory. Inventory sometimes will show because nobody entered it. It is there. Sometimes you go to a warehouse, you see it's full, but it's on paper in your ERP system, it's low because somebody didn't enter it in, right? Maybe it's just before the weekend or something like that. And then if on the weekend you run some kind of a MRP system, it won't run, or it will come up with the wrong reason. It'll ask you to buy more stuff, right? So there is a lot of stuff that I think in this manner we were able to do on the production floor as well. By having something like this, immediately production items were put into finished good inventory. So accuracy of information increased. Since it was easy to use, usage increased. People were able to use it on their phone itself. They didn't have to do anything else. No separate. You don't have to find a computer. So I think all of these things lends itself to what we call surround ERP, build a lightweight system of engagement. Okay. This is another. Feeding up balance sheet and So all of that information, we just fed the information, it read it, and it doesn't have to be exact same format or anything. Like a human would read a balance sheet or read a read a P&L statement. It would read all of it, bring it information. It bring it into some kind of a data repository, and from there it can also make it in whatever format you want it to. So this way, a lot of the analyst kind of work where you are doing the same thing again and again is going away for sure. That those, again, in this particular case, not just that, it can actually make sense of it, even if it can be taught to learn US GAAP, it can learn taught to learn European GAAP. A lot of those things can also be taken care of. Another customer here. I think Cogeco is where we've used RPA. This is again at scale. Cogeco is like a company. It's a Canadian cable company, and they're now getting into wireless as well. So a lot of the internal systems, we've got bots that do a lot of the monitoring, aggregating. So today, if you're a cable vendor, a cable customer, and you want to upgrade or remove items, it was very complicated for them. People had to go into multiple systems, add wireless to your account, remove something else, remove TV. Now all those were big processes. It went through multiple systems. Now with AI kind of plumbing at the back end, all of it is automated. So we were able to take off, a large chunk of people that were doing some of that information. We were able to add that capacity to AI. This is a car dealership. Del Monte Foods, again, this is something that we're doing in India. So all the connectivity to Amazon, Cloudtail. Okay, this one I want to just talk about. This is a company called Suncor. It's Canada's largest oil and gas company. And what they have done is they've really embraced AI, RPA across the enterprise. We have more than 500 AI agents, 500 bots that are running at Suncor today. And they're in every process, like the accounting, HR. They've brought it in, and they have a process by which they have what we call COE, Center of Excellence for Automation. Now the Center of Excellence has people from different groups, finance included, HR, IT. People bring their ideas. I want a bot for this. I want an AI agent. It goes through a mechanism. Prioritization is done. Which bot has the most business case is taken for production, and this is a journey. So this is like many of you might have heard of, continuous improvement, Six Sigma, all of those concepts that people used to have continuous improvement in their processes is what we're talking about here as well. It's a continuous improvement. It's not a one-time exercise. You have to keep doing this, and there'll be new technologies that come in, and you can use that. You can embrace it a step at a time. Kind of thing. I think you've got a lot of case studies here, Amol. So the automation healthcare, I don't know how many of you in healthcare, but revenue cycle management, sending invoices to your payers, making sure the insurance companies get all that information on time. This is where a lot of the cash is also stuck in your system, and we were able to do this, AR AP automation for a major US dental chain up northeast. Little bit Tangentia, we have a golf tournament. If any of you are in the Toronto area on the 13th of September, I'd like to welcome all of you. We have a Tangentia Open Technology Summit, and this is our 5th annual Technology Summit. I'd like to invite all of you. It's a good time to be in Canada and in Toronto. We will definitely make sure that we have a place for you, and Amol will take care of that. Also, there is a Microsoft Power Platform Conference. We're at the conference 18th to 20th of September 2024. We're at booth 411. But this is something that I would recommend if any of you want to understand low-code app development, and lot of this is already available within the Microsoft. I'm by a show of hands, how many of you are on Microsoft Teams, or how many of you use Microsoft Outlook in your offices? I would say almost everybody. Today, Microsoft Power Automate, Microsoft AI Builder, all of this is available, within the same system, right? It's available. Now you got to pay a little more a month or whatever, but it's already available. So it is not that you've got to go and buy, a lot of extra stuff. It is already available. So if you explore the Microsoft platform, and so I highly recommend, if any of you do have the time, to consider attending this one. We also have for, specifically for the New York chapter, we're offering a free customized finance AI agent. Any of you in your companies think there are some use cases you want us to put us to the test and say, we want to build something like this. Think about a use case. Think about something where you think, maybe why can't I give a customer a chat bot that they came in, and if they wanted to test, today people talk about Where is my invoice? When will I get paid? Right? Sometimes your accounts payable people have people talking to these people. What if you gave them a chat bot and said, talk to this chatbot, it knows all the information, and this chatbot will authenticate you. They can send a one-time password, authenticate. So, and if you're authenticated, they can actually give you your statement. It can tell you where the money is, has it been done or not. I'm just giving you just use cases of the art of the possible. Year-end reports, month-end reports, weekly reports, flash reports, all of this stuff can be automated. Also, some of you that run accounting practices, we definitely want to partner with you. We have a 10% referral program for accounting practices. If you have customers that you think can use an AI agent or a whole digital strategy, please send them to us as well. We'd love to work with you. So, so two things. If you're in a company, want to get today for people to do, pilots, proof of concepts, sometimes you have to get money and budget from somewhere senior in finance or from IT. So we're saying, we'll help you. You don't need to get a budget. We'll do this for free. And then obviously it'll help you show that you're progressive, show that you have actually done something, and we can show the use case, you can show the actual benefits. And then I think it's easier to prove the business case and probably get money for the bigger project. So that's all I think we had for today. Nothing about us. And I'll leave you with this, so people talk about, and we'll have Q&A. If the world is going AI, my advice to everybody is do not fight it. Do not try to get better than AI. In the age of AI, be human. So do the human part that the AI won't be able to do, right? So I think, I think that's, I'll leave you guys with that thought. And this, I think, is, been a great audience. I'm open to questions. Anybody has any questions? But I think just wanted to give you a flavor of the art of the possible, right? And also we wanted to partner with you and see if you want to, do something, we can help with pushing the envelope and also making sure that we can help you guys get on this AI bandwagon. It is happening. It is happening. There's been few hiccups, but if you look at that curve for the internet that we put in one of the earliest slides that I put, it is inevitable. We're still only scratching the surface, right? So, and I'm sure many of you visit India. In India today, WhatsApp, everybody, my parents are 80 years old. They're using WhatsApp and everybody's So imagine if those people have not got, AI has not reached there as yet. It's only the young people that are using AI today. Just imagine the possibilities, right? If this thing really takes over, a lot can happen. There's good guys using AI. Unfortunately, the bad guys also have access to AI. So, we will figure out where this all ends up, but it's definitely exciting times ahead. So we'll take some questions. Jay, over to you.
Yep, amazing. Thank you, Vijay. That was an extremely exciting view of AI, and I personally did not think of the different use cases and industries that you showcased today. So really, thank you for that. And yeah, that being said, I know we are at about time, but we can extend the session for a few more minutes. If anyone has questions, we can open the floor for Q&A. I know Rajesh had one question about AI ecosystems. So maybe Rajesh, we can start with you, and then anyone else can join in.
Yeah, no, Vijay and Amol, thank you very much, for this. I think it is pretty impressive what you all do across clients. It gave me some ideas as well in terms of what I can do with my organization as well. There's one simple question I have from a CFO perspective, which is the top finance use case that you're seeing coming from CFOs in terms of what they want to do, whether it's to do with productivity or whether it's to do with sort of enabling the rest of the business?
Good. So I think everything is, you need to find from a CFO standpoint, if you got a strategic direction that we want to go, we want to become an AI first company or whatever, then you've got some money to do this. Okay, so then the decision making is slightly different. You want to enable the business. You want to make it an AI first company. So that's a very strategic initiative, right? So that is one. The way that we've seen CFOs do this is, one is if you've got somebody says, here's $2 billion, go do this, right? We want to do this. Then you look at it slightly differently. But what we've seen companies do is, from a productivity standpoint, if you start a journey, you say, we're going to start an AI project, right? Now we want this project, this AI COE, to become self-sustaining. No, now if you want it to be self-sustaining, you want to build some early wins. So you want to, it will have to be productivity based. So you can almost build those productive, projects that you can bring in. And there are some low-hanging fruit projects, right? I mean, where and just a very quick look around. I think I showed you some use cases. A company like us, or there's other consulting companies will look at your finance function or across industry, and they'll tell you these are this is the possibility. This is the percentage of automation that is possible. And then you pick up on some of those, do some projects. The ROI is pretty quick, right? And very quickly, now the automation project is cash flow positive. It's almost like a internal startup, right? So you're now making, so you're building, you're building your net worth. So it's a positive thing. You're getting you have money now to spend. So you can almost take that money from your own thing. Now it may not always work like that. So you'll need some strategic inputs as well, and which are like people wanting this to be done. But the key is, I think, it can be self-sustaining, because at some point people will ask questions. What are we getting for this? So I think the what we've seen work very, very, very well is to always have the emphasis on ROI and the emphasis on showing the returns and really measuring everything, because sometimes they do the project and there's big companies that put these on hold, very big companies. And when I say very big, I'm saying, some Fortune 500 companies have gone spent money and then they put the whole thing on hold. But if they had actually documented and they were actually, the projects did succeed. So but from whatever lens they looked at it, at some point it did not. But to answer your question, I think there is productivity, I think, is the key one to start with, and then there are some strategic initiatives, things like speed, right? Speed today, if you're a public company, how long does it take for you to close your accounts, books, to come up with that? Now, so I'll give you an example. In India, there's a company called, Shein. You probably heard of Shein. Is this fashion company, the big fashion company from China. Shein is going to India, and Shein is tied up with Reliance to do this whole thing. And Shein, from idea to execution in the store, the product, it takes only 28 days. Today, in many other fashion retail, it is 90 days, right? So if you have to go from 90 days to 28 days, everything has to get automated. So then that strategic direction changes everything. It is not productivity driven. It's just like, we have to do it. So those are, I think, where some of the decisions can be driven from strategic initiatives. But other than that, if it's not strategic, nobody's pushing you to do some of those things. You have to kind of make the ROI, build the ROI, and you'll get there. But it's only a little longer process, but it's a solid process, because then you're building it becomes a habit. People are like, okay, let's look at what are we saving, what are we automating every month, what are we doing this quarter, is it self-sustaining? Did we make enough money out of this project last month, or do we need some top up or whatever? So sorry, Rajesh, hopefully that's answered your question.
Yes, and Vijay, sorry, so I have a hard stop, but I'll leave you with two things, and I'll reach out to you separately
Sure.
as well. I think one, see, when I speak about productivity, we're looking at saying, what's the ROI back to the business from a CFO perspective? It is becoming more intelligent, doing things with speed, removing a lot of manual effort, right? The other question that we're sort of challenging ourselves is saying, what do we do? Let's say if you have a 100 people finance team, we drive this, we implement it. And let's say the productivity has to be 50%. What do we do with the other 50 finance careers? Okay, that's another question sort of is up to us. And then the second thing for us, at least for the organization that I work, data governance is a big one.
Absolutely.
So that's why.
And good for you guys now with a lot of these data. The initial ChatGPT kind of stuff was kind of a little bit of the Wild West, but now that governance has come in, it is so companies of a larger size with higher, security, privacy, mandates. Today, technology has also it is also able to take care of all of that as well.
Okay, thank you. I'll Jay, Devang, thank you very much, and Vijay and Amul, I'll reach out to you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Rajesh.
I see Ganesh has a raised hand. Ganesh, if you want to go on with your question.
Hi, Ganesh.
Okay, maybe until Ganesh can respond, we can. I saw a couple of more people ask for questions. So yeah, one of the questions is from Jayesh, which is, how much is the minimum ticket size or cost for small automations to be done?
That's a good question. So small automation, today, automation can start off, and a lot of you are the chartered accountants. So you guys are, I'm going to stick my neck out and say, you guys are good Excel jockeys. Okay, so you guys are good Excel jockeys. You guys can make numbers jump around. You also in Excel, there was this thing called as macro. Okay, so the macro is the lowest level automation. Okay, so it is in this whole. So with the automation of today, the only problem with the macro was, in most cases, the macros were written very individually written for stuff that worked on one computer, one person, one user. And then nowadays you have macros that can do more as well. But the advantage of an automation, so the lowest level automation, you can use a Power Automate license, and you can kind of even possibly look at it yourself. So we're looking at maybe over a year, a few $100 to $1,000, or what is the licensing itself is not very expensive. So, but if you got a company like us involved or whatever, we're still looking at a good automation at an enterprise scale. For a small size automation, we're looking at around $20,000, a one-time fee. And then if you're using something like a Microsoft, it's probably a few $1,000s a year in licensing. Okay, but these bots can work 24/7. So from an ROI standpoint, a bot can do, you got 24 hours in bot, so right away it is 3 times a human shift. It can also, a bot can do one shift HR, one shift finance, one shift something else. So it's also can multitask. So I think the numbers can be and I think I talked about, I think there was one slide, I think we went through it quickly. Let me find out if I can get that slide. So you can do this you can do this either by yourself. Okay, you can go on how do you go on an autonomous journey? You can go either on a cruise ship, and the cruise ship is like, on a cruise ship, what happens? These are big cruise ship companies, right? This is like going to an Accenture, going to one of those bigger, Capgemini, IBM. You don't have to do much. They will take care of everything. They'll show you all the things, but you'll end up spending a lot of money. A rafting trip at the bottom is bare knuckles rafting, right? If you're in finance, you say, I can do this myself, we can do it. Your cost will be lower, but you have to do everything yourself, right? So this is bare knuckles rafting. It's high on adrenaline, high on all that stuff. But are you guaranteed to win? You can also fall off a lot. So where we come in, Tangentia as a company, we're like the adventure cruise. We have smaller ships. You're closer to nature. You can do a lot of things yourself as well. But we're way more, we're faster, than the larger cruise ships. We can get to more destinations, a lot of that kind of stuff as well. So just to give you an idea of where, and obviously the rafting trip will cost you cheaper. You're doing it yourself, right? But also, you might learn from a couple of failed experiments. You might do something. So just that I think there's no single answer, but you can start from couple of hundreds to thousands of dollars, and for a large enterprise-wide thing, you can spend quite a bit. But at the same time, the ROI for all of these things usually is in months, is not in years. So that's what we've seen. Ganesh?
Great, thanks. Yeah, we have 2 more questions. One is from Ganesh and another one is from Sailesh. We'll take those 2 and then we close. But yeah, Ganesh, you can go ahead. So I think Ganesh did post his question here, which is what is a good starting point for a finance professional like me who's into core data analysis and presentation of data? And also for a user in general, what are the important areas to explore about AI? Yeah, I'll take it then.
Yeah. So absolutely, I think from a data science perspective, Ganesh, a lot of the data science perspective, like actually the data coming in together, right? A lot of the reporting, a lot of that stuff, I think, where there was an interface layer where you kind of you are the person bringing some of this together to the users, right? What could also happen is potentially tomorrow there could be an AI chat engine that they can talk to the data directly, right? They wouldn't need an interface person, but where they need is a more complicated data. If you wanted to ask the right questions, interplay of data with data from other systems, forecasting, fine tweaking of models. So that I think is where the future, where the it's going to evolve, because at some point, once this is set in the right way, people should be able to use it. It should be easy to use, right? I mean, just imagine I just went and talked to my AI model and said, give me the same report you gave me last month. Also, just add some other row to it. Guess what? It will do it and bring it to you. So in a way, some of that element of skill that was required to actually put things together might go away. Okay, so again, not go away today, tomorrow, but directionally, I think that is where things would go.
Vijay, once again, thank you so much. This was really one of my favorite webinars. with ICAI New York, and it was extremely informative. We really appreciate the time taken out by you and Amol. And yeah, we look forward to having more events with you, and hopefully some in-person events in New York.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. And we're not very far. We're only an hour away by flight from Toronto. So we also welcome all of you. If you're ever in Toronto, please give us a shout.
Absolutely.
Enjoy a weekend, everybody. Have a
Thank
nice
you,
one.
Vijay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.